makes man is what we're going to get on Newspunch. We give you the information that you need, from business to economy to politics to technology. And that's all we do here on Newspunch, from the beginning to the end. And that is why we are here. Keep watching Newspunch from there.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to another edition of Newspunch. My name is Chukwudi Mabuko. We want to apologize for beginning this program very late. It was due to some unforeseen circumstances. Today we shall be discussing an issue that is very topical in Nigeria and in all democracies, and that is the issue of June 12th. June 12th, 1993, was a watershed in Nigeria's politics. It was on that date, June 12, 1993, that Nigerians made a choice between military regime, military dictatorship, and democracy. And what happened was that there were two parties that were decreed into being by the then military president Ibrahim Babangida. They were the Social Democratic Party, SDP, and the National Republican Convention, NRC. When the whistle was blown for democracy, these two parties flew their flags, and Bashir Abiola got the ticket for SDP, while Alhaji Bashir Tofa got the ticket for NRC. And a lot of water since then has passed under the bridge. So we want to give a kind of a brief, because it's been almost 20 years or so or more since then that incident happened, and Nigerians are about to celebrate on that June 12th. So what happened was that after the elections, which was described as the freest and first election in Nigeria, the military government, headed by IBB, Ibrahim Babangida, annulled that election. And remember what I said before, that election was the freest and the fairest election we have ever had in Nigeria. And upon the fact that in Nigeria Nigerians are very sensitive when it comes to religious matters. And in that election, the presidential candidate of SDP was a Muslim. His deputy, vice presidential candidate, was also a Muslim. Nigerians discountenanced that and voted SDP into power. That was why I said it was a watershed in Nigeria's politics. Nigerians were happy on the outcome of the election, because at the end of the day, the election that was held under what we call a novel idea, option A4. Option A4 was a way whereby people may say it's undemocratic. You line behind the picture of your candidates in the open, so you could see people from the same family. You could see how they voted. Some people may vote for SDP, some people may vote for NRC, and it was a novel method, and it was very successful. There was nobody died. There was no killing. There was no violence. There was no snatching of ballot boxes, because as soon as the counting was done, every person present knew the outcome of the election there and then. So, as I said, Abiola won the election, and he got about 8 million votes, and so far of the NRC got about 5.9 million votes. Then Nigerians were expectant, hoping that since this is the best we have had in Nigeria, the results will be announced. But there was a kind of a suspension and animation in Nigeria. The election that was held on June 12th was not announced until 23rd, when what they heard was that when the military president came on air and said that the election has been annulled. There was no cogent reason apart from the fact that he had his own issues with maybe the man that won the election, and then declared it annulled. Nigerians rose in unison to condemn it and demanded that the man that won the election should be announced and be sworn in as president. But the military regime then stuck to their guns and said that They cannot do that. They cannot reverse what they have annulled. So Nigeria came to the breaking point and witnessed a kind of violence and protests against the environmental election. So it continued that way until the military president, then Ibrahim Babangida, was stampeded out of office. He said he was going to step aside. Apparently, he was stampeded because of what he did. He left the position, and then to avoid a vacuum, he empaneled what he called an interim national government, headed by the then chairman of UAC, a South African company, Chief Ernest Shoneko, to be the interim national government for them to midwife another democracy, another election. But one thing he did before, while he was leaving, he called it a civilian regime, but Babangida left General Sani Abacha as defense minister to that government. So within 3 months, in November of the same year, 1993, Abacha overthrew Shoneko and came in as head of state. So all the structures that were set up by Babangida, which we could say was set up on a false premise, all were dismantled. Then we had to start all over again, jackboot military regime. Abacha was in charge, and he introduced a kind of democracy, or a kind of government Nigeria had never witnessed before. It was very draconian, and he shut himself out of circulation, and the government became a pariah before the international community. Then, at the end of the day, Abacha, on June 23rd of 1998, after having been in the office for about 5 years, he died in his sleep. In stepped General Abdulsalami Abubakar as head of state in Nigeria in 1998. He took over from Abacha, who died in office. And he showed a kind of sincerity of purpose by asking politicians to get together again and come and form new parties to midwife another democracy. So and then Abubakar was able to midwife another kind of government, the government that brought in Olusegun Obasanjo as president. That's the extent we have gone. So when Obasanjo came in, the issue of June 12 was kind of put to the back burner. He never mentioned about it, never talked about it, but Nigerians continue to clamor that June 12 was a watershed in Nigeria's election and politics, that it should be observed as a democracy day. But because of the fact Ms. Obasanjo has his own misgivings with Abiola, he did not hearken to the yearnings of Nigerians. And throughout his tenure, the issue of June 12 was not given its prominence, apart from Lagos State that's always made it a point of view to mark the day as Democracy Day. After him, Yar'Adua came in as president. The issue was not broached at all. There was still clamor for that day to be recognized as watershed in Nigerian politics. Yar'Adua did not do it. Jonathan came to office succeeding Yar'Adua. He tried to maybe immortalize Abiola, but the path he chose was not popular. He tried to rename Lagos University of Lagos, Abiola University, which was rejected by Nigerians, and then it was cancelled. Then it took the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, to recognize the importance of June 12, 1993 as a democracy day. So on June 6th, last year, 2018, Muhammadu Buhari announced to Nigerians that rather than declare May 29 as Democracy Day, June 12 will now become Nigeria's Democracy Day. That is why what we have come here to discuss today, because in a week's time or so, June 12 will be marked in Nigeria as a Democracy Day. So with me in the studio today, to do justice to this issue today, is a veteran journalist of repute and a member of Association of Nigerian Journalists in UK, Mr. Tunde Oyedoyin. So, Tunde, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Tunde, you have you understood what you are a journalist. We are part and parcel of what happened within that period, and the fact that it took almost 25 years for a government to recognize June 12, despite all the clamor for the day to be recognized by the state government, which they didn't do. What is your take on the issue of June 12 that has been recognized as Democracy Day in Nigeria by the incumbent president?
Number one is to say it came late, but it's better late than never. You know, it took 26 years, as you rightly pointed out, from 1993 to last year when President Muhammad Buhari, decided to listen to the yearnings of Nigerians. And I think Buhari, was given the chance. It's like people who should have gotten the glory, they decided not to take it. So Buhari, being a listening president, you have to give him thumbs up for doing that. As you mentioned, President Obasanjo had a chance. Chief M.K. Abiola is a kinsman. He had a golden opportunity. It's like being given the chance to play a penalty. And Obasanjo just said, no, I'm not taking it. President Umaru Yar'Adua got the opportunity. He didn't really, we won't say he got the opportunity because that wasn't, I wouldn't say it was tabled more on it, it was put on his table. But if anybody should have done it, it should have been President Olusegun Obasanjo. He didn't do it. President Jonathan didn't do it. So we have to say kudos to President Buhari for doing it. And I think one reason why he did that was because of, I would say probably because of people like Tinubu, Asiwaju Tinubu, who is close to him and who has been a campaigner, one of those who campaigned for actualization of recognizing June 12, as you say, he was a former Lagos State governor. So being the importance, how close he is, he brought Buhari together, to form the APC. And I also had last year, Pastor Tunde Bakare was giving a talk at the Tottenham Town Hall, which I was there then. And he was saying that also he had mentioned that until that date is resolved, given a closure, Nigeria probably, we're not going to move forward democratically. So I think, Buhari was smart, did the right thing. So we must also remember that Pastor Bakare was his running mate in before he came to APC, when he contested under CPC. So we must look at Pastor Tunde Bakare and Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, that Buhari, these are people close to Buhari, so probably he listened to them. And he was a smart guy. He said, okay, those who went before me, if anybody shouldn't do it, it should be Buhari, because Buhari, has a military background. Of course, it's now, in a democratic suit. So, like I said, he's a smart man, and he did it. So, better late than never. It's very important that he's been recognized, and it was a turning point, as already mentioned. So, it's very, very good that we must know that this is part of our democratic history.
Okay, to what extent people say, you said it is the president is being smart or about being smart. Some people read politics into it that it was because of politics, what he could, the dividend he could get from the president. Which one now?
Yeah, you see, whether he is going to get political mileage or not, it doesn't matter. The thing is that those who didn't do it, they didn't get any mileage, and then what people don't know is that history, can be very kind, and it can be very cruel as well. It can be wicked, so let's even say you wanted political mileage. Fine, that's what politics is about. You must do something that is smart. There is no point a president being dumb and not doing the right thing. So doing it whether to get vote from southwest, or the southwestern part of the country, or just for whatever reason, the key thing is that he did the right thing, he recognized it, and then, so that was really good. So whichever divide, whichever position you take, the position is not the issue. The thing is that he did it. So every other reason is secondary.
Okay. And it has taken almost the 6 years for that to happen, the 5 years for that to happen. How relevant do you think June 12 is in contemporary Nigeria today?
Well, number one, it's very, very important because as many people must have heard, I said Rome wasn't built in a day. So we didn't get to this democratic position overnight. Many people do not know. It's just like the history of the UK. Not many people know that kings, the monarchs, once ruled this country, and things evolved over time. There were times when the monarch could just say, this is it, and it's like the 10 Commandments. You either take it or you leave it. The monarch would get to be beheaded. So Nigerians too, in those days, as you mentioned in 1993, military president, then Ibrahim Babangida, and said with some people, they said, we don't like that man, we're not going to announce the results. And they said, well, we're going to cancel it, we're going to annul it. So they had been used to the military having their way. But, when that happened, and Babangida and co thought, okay, we are going to be the kingmakers, so we could continue that way. So and they said, we're not going to announce the result. But as you mentioned, it was a turning point. It was a watershed when people said, no, we have exercised our rights. Remember Babangida, his nickname was Maradona. This is what I said, that, people do not know that history will always judge you. Time has the final say. So they wanted to subvert the will of the people. They succeeded to some extent, in denying, people have said, yeah, Abiola is the president we never had. Fine. But the people who did that, who colluded to annul it, where is Babangida today? He's still alive, right? Mm-hmm. But when we're talking of democratic icons, legends or matters of democracy, is going to be at the footnotes. That is what people do not know. So it's very, very important that Buhari has done it. And the day is important because it was a day people, as you mentioned, Muslim ticket, it looks dumb. But Abiola had paid his dues. And people did not really mind who was following him. It didn't really matter who was Ambassador Babangida Kingibe. Of course, he had his own political clout. Mm-hmm. But Abiola was the man that was the arrowhead. So he's paid his dues, and people said, look, whosoever you put behind you, it doesn't matter. We know you all over the country. You are in sport, you are a philanthropist, you are an employer of labor and all that. So people went out and said, this is the man we want. And somebody said, a group of people said, we don't like his face for whatever reason, we're going to annul that election. And Nigeria said, no. And everything started from there until 1999, as you mentioned. So it's very, very important that when we're talking about our history, we know it started, we can say, current political dispensation, Nigerian political history started on June 12, 1993.
Yeah, we're talking about, you referred to Babangida Kingibe. Remember that when, last year, when Buhari announced this June 12, he did not end it there. He followed it up with giving the conferring on them national awards. For example, if Abiola had been sworn in as president, mm-hmm. he would get the
Grand Commander of the Federal Republic.
Federal Republic, GCFR.
That's right.
And then the vice president would become GCON.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he went ahead to honor them, mm-hmm. give them this award posthumously. And then, because Abiola is dead, mm-hmm. or had died before this issue, Babangida Kingibe is alive. Mm-hmm. He got a GCON. And people were saying that because of the fact that Babangida Kingibe kind of betrayed the ticket, even when Abiola was incarcerated in jail, mm-hmm. he had the conscience to join the government,
interim
take
government
position mm-hmm. as internal affairs minister mm-hmm. under Abacha, mm-hmm. who was the the man who kept this man in prison, who kept Abiola, who won the election in prison. People thought it was a betrayal, they stabbed on the back. Now, having conferred this on him, somebody having led the tickets, you know, he led the ticket that made him popular to give him that vice presidential ticket, and then work with the enemy of the democracy. People say he was not deserving of it. What is your own opinion?
Again, you say people have to be students of history. You must know, you must always see the big picture. According to King Gibe, you know that, and some other people joined the government then, they said that Abiola gave them the go-ahead. We do not know. Sometimes, you know, they say that, you know, you want to catch a thief, a monkey, you be like a monkey. You know, I read some of the things that King Gibe said that, you know, joining the government was not out of desperation. That, you know, they were advised, they took instruction to say, okay, if this man, if these people are saying, come and join us, so it's all right, go ahead. That does not mean we are going to surrender our mandate. So I think King Gibe deserves it. As you said, this is why I said that Buhari, like him or love him or hate him, he can't take all the boxes. But for that one, he got it right. To have even conferred the highest national honor, posthumously on Abiola, that tells you he's saying this is the president we didn't have. Because nobody gets GCFR, that's the highest honor in the country. So he is indirectly saying, because every president in Nigeria will have had the opportunity to look at what we do not know. And there were no legitimate reasons for annulling that election. So you don't just put GCFR on somebody just for political mileage. You know, so he saw, I'm sure he saw it, and then he said, all right, this is the thing, this man deserves it, this is the president we didn't have, I must do this. So he, like I said, you know, he has taken, I won't say he has taken their glory, he has done the right thing that others had the opportunity to do, and they didn't do it. So, King Gibe, you cannot crucify the man. You know, if Abiola said, if he said, Abiola asked us, we took instruction, and it wasn't the only one. I said, go ahead and join the government. Remember, as you mentioned, when Babangida said, I'm stepping aside, he had his own script, which we don't know. Putting Shonekan there, putting Abacha there, knowing that Abacha, hey, you know, if you're going to get rid of this man after 3 months, Abacha too had his own script. I want their position. So he didn't follow the script of IBB. You know, he followed his own script. This man is dead, like you said, this is defense man. You know, and Shonekan being a civilian, the apparatus of the military architecture was under Abacha. And remember, this is somebody who has been part of the coups in the past, you know, I, General Muhammad, you know, Sani Abacha, GLC, Second Mechanized Division of the Nigerian Army. So he knows the in and out of getting somebody out, getting a head of state out of office. So he just went to Shonekan and said, hey, off you go. We've got everything.
But that was what they also said, that it was a plan of Abacha and Babangida, knowing that this man is
powerless. He might be commander-in-chief of the armed forces, but knowing that, you know, as a civilian man, he did not have the constitutional power. He didn't have the in and out. You know, he was just brought in. He was from nowhere, from business. So he didn't have, you know, the political streetness. You know, he was not politically smart. And even if you were, these were people commanding all the tanks. They say, you go or you're dead. You know, so the man just quietly left the position. After I was brought there as interim, I didn't win any election. I didn't contest anything. So if they are telling me, go, I better pack my stuff and out. So back to what you said before, King Gibe deserves it. You know, he ran that ticket. He ran on that platform with Abiola. You know, so whether he went to take position or not, people close to Abiola have said that Abiola told him that you want to go, go. So, you know, the thing is that on that day, he was on that ticket with Abiola. So if Abiola gets it, you know, he should get it. Even though Abiola went ahead, backed by the civil society, he campaigned more that this my mandate should be given to me.
Yeah.
And he paid the ultimate price, But having said that, he will have been crowned. So, let's give it up to him.
Yeah, I agree. But we will not lose the sense of history. You know that Abiola he can talk, he can speak, he can make jokes, he can say the truth, he can say whatever he wants to say.
Yeah.
I remember that during that time when he was, even though you said, which I think I also had, that time he got the blessing of Abiola to work for Abacha.
That's right.
Abiola said when one day he asked at Akingibe, "You have joined them. Why have you joined them like this?" He said, "I'm hungry. I have to join it because I'm hungry." The man said, "Okay, no, Abiola, you can also come before." He said,
yeah.
If you are thirsty, you want to drink water, and you see gutter water, you drink it. So he was equating that government with gutter. If you see the water, you want people to drink water. And you see the
because
water
of hunger, you won't drink that
go
one.
and take that water. So that's why he was trying to portray the government. Now, we are happy because we know that while we are writing under June 12th, we were also making that clamor that June 12th should be recognized, and the person that wanted elections recognized,
absolutely,
and things like that, which Buhari has done.
Yeah.
We thank him for that and recognizing that June 12th as a watershed in Nigerian politics.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it from the fact that before Buhari came, we had sources of government presidents. Why was it impossible for Obasanjo to take that glory? Because seeing that Obasanjo and Abiola came from the same state.
Absolutely.
Why didn't he find it convenient to legalize June 12?
Yeah. Again, I think they have a history, and to Obasanjo, he has expressed, I'll call it, a personal thing. This is what mistake people sometimes make, that, you don't know that probably when President Obasanjo came there in 1999, that's the mistake people make. They think 8 years is a long time. No. It's been over 8 years now that President Obasanjo himself is out of office. Yeah. So if he had done it, whatever the issues, because again, the thing that Buhari saw and said this man must get GCFR, Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, Obasanjo will have seen the same report. Because every security report, there is nothing hidden from a Nigerian president. Nothing. So he will have seen it. But remember also that when you are sitting in that office, you are like Alpha and Omega. So if you don't like me, you may say, this man, I don't want him. So no matter what people say, and the box stops at your table, no other person can force a sitting president to say, do this. So Obasanjo, for whatever reason, probably personal hatred, he decided not to do it. Because what Buhari saw, results are not just coming. The result had been ready. The collation had been done since 1993. Sure. And it's been on the table. You could have said, let me see the final tally. Let me see the final tally of those results that Babangida. And remember also, Obasanjo, he made a very big mistake, I tell you. Because he was a very direct beneficiary of June 12, 1993. Because remember, Abacha wanted to kill him. Yeah. He was in prison. Yeah. He was supposed to have died. When things happened, again, based on that June 12, 1993, it went on. Abacha died in 1998, June, okay? And then all of a sudden, they wanted democratic process to restart. People went to prison. Obasanjo was supposed to, he himself acknowledged that God saved his life. He had less than 50,000 naira because he had been bankrupted, when Abacha took him out of circulation. Yeah. So if anybody should have done it, like I said, Obasanjo should have done it. So they went, and the people, the kingmakers, they wanted somebody from Abiola's place, a Yoruba person, IBB, Abdul Salami, and the military bigwigs, the power brokers, the kingmakers, the people that we do not all know, all of them. Yeah. So they made Obasanjo that, okay, to appease the Yorubas, let's put one of them. The machinery was there for PDP to win. And they said, look, Obasanjo was brought out of prison. You see, and he said, Babangida went to say and said, we want you to contest. Go, we want to give somebody this thing. We don't want it to go to another part of the country. So that is somebody who should have said, now I am in power. Let me use this opportunity. God has been kind to me. I was days away from death. Yeah. Abacha could have killed him.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, everybody will have protested and all that, fine, but they will have taken it. Take him out of circulation anyway. Absolutely. Yeah. So, Obasanjo, this is what I'm saying, that history, when people have golden opportunity and they do not do it, 8 years is a short time. So, Baba, Buhari, give it up for him for doing it.
Okay. Viewers, you have a chance to call in and make your contributions to the program. We now zero in on Ibrahim Babangida. Babangida is still alive. And if you are in his shoes now, you annulled the election and you said everything bad about it, why it was annulled, why it can never be reversed, and then suddenly somebody who came after you now saw a reason to reverse what you did. So how would you think you'll be feeling?
Well, number one, IBB, President General retired Ibrahim Babangida, number one, I'm sure he'll be regretting. He'll probably, I'm hoping he is. In a way, I think he'll be regretting that, and he'll be wishing if I could turn back the hand of time, I wouldn't have annulled this election. That is what somebody saying will be thinking, because, what was it? Look, he himself is out of office. It's been since 1993 that he stepped aside, hoping I'll come back, hoping Abacha, after a few months, Abacha will get rid of Shoneko and then be my friend. But power, like people say, you don't entrust people with power, especially in the military. We've seen now, Kano State Governor, Ganduje was former deputy to, thinking this is my boy, I know. We've seen how Governor Nyesom Wike and Rotimi, this is my chief of staff. These were the people that fought my battle, and then you put them in position. Yeah, you've seen. So, Ibrahim Babangida, I'm sure he'll be in regret. What if I were him, or if I were advising him, I'm going to say, do a book, tell your part of it, because when he is gone, remember, history, people who write history, they can nail him. It's going to be in the footnote. It's going to be an enemy of democracy. Not is going to be he is, but people...
You don't need the book. You don't need the one that is a revisionist book.
Absolutely. Well, it's still all right. Fine. Yeah, fine. But you can say, this is why I did this. Because he was saying, he has said many times, he's not the only one. There are people, and of course, he couldn't be the only one. And even if people told you as the president to say, do this, he could say no. But having done that and not having the opportunity to turn back the hand of time, he could say, all right, I'm going to give my version. This is what happened. And that is one thing people, you mentioned about the political relevance of it. Nigerian president, and not only Nigerian president, all over Africa, when presidents leave office in the UK, in the US, they come out with their memoirs. So Babangida, is not too late for him, either to call a press conference on his birthday, or even next week, which is June 12th, to say, now my version. This is what happened on that day. I'm telling you, it's never too late for him to say, this is what we did. We made a mistake. We shouldn't have done that, but we did it. Nigerians, forgive me. But this is why we did it. He may not give all the reasons, but, this is my opportunity to apologize to Nigerians on this occasion today and to say Abiola really deserves the honor he's been giving, Nigerians, let's move forward.
Okay. That would be nice if he comes out to tell us about his role.
Absolutely.
Which he had occasion to say it. No, that he said he doesn't have any apology because he had to do it as head of state based on the reports he was getting.
So this is the thing he should tell us. What were those reports?
And issues they have
Nigerians exercise their democratic rights. They voted for the, remember, Babangida's nickname is Maradona, that, you know, somebody dribbles you. So, yeah, so you thought, okay, I'll do this, you know, just the same person, you know, it's like a script director, you know, I'm the one putting the actors on stage, you know, when they're supposed to come in, I'm manipulating them using remote control. So what did they tell you? So this is a great opportunity for him to come out and say, look, I listened to wrong advice. You know, Nigerians, I want you to forgive me. President Muhammad Buhari has done the right thing. Abiola should have gotten that thing. Whatever, what is it?
So how do you want this issue of June 12 to be consolidated in Nigerian politics? How further can it be consolidated? Is it just to do a march past and maybe kind of read out a speech or whatever? Is there any kind of any other, or is this enough for it to?
I mean, it, you know, it is never too much. Whatever is done, whichever way people want to do it, the fact that it's been recognized as a democracy day is, you know, that speaks volume. So whichever way, you know, and we also have to say a big well done to Lagos State, and I think most of the southwest states, you know, they do commemorate it. So whichever way, it is now up to each individual state. And I know some of the associates of Abiola, they always use June 12th, you know, to make some sort of celebration, to recognize him, to award him, you know, either giving a lecture, you know, institute, you know, a democratic prize for Moshood Abiola, Moshood, you know, Abiola, you know, democracy prize and political prize, you know, just such things which will be milestones to deepen it further, that people will know that there was a president we never had, there was a vice president we never had. So it's, you know, whichever method people want to use, you know, state wants to use, especially those who were there, you know, who witnessed it, who are in the battleground with him, those who encourage him. You know, it's also an opportunity for people like, you know, Ambassador Kingigbe to also put more, deepen the process more by celebrating whichever way. And you also have to give thumbs up for the western state as well. They always mark it. Ogun State does not joke with it. Lagos State itself, they always mark it. So those are very, very good steps that they are taking.
Apart
and then,
from the public proclamation and the declaration of the day as a democracy day, you know, June 12 is a lesson. How would the lesson of June 12 be deepened in terms of the fact that Nigerians and the government and authorities should make sure that elections count, that votes count. You know, not recruiting somebody to become a head of state or whatever, or governor through rigging. How can we deepen the lesson of June 12 so that it's not just, it isn't that it just happened, but that we have learned the lesson. So why we are talking about June 12 today is that we are all living witnesses to the fact that June 12, the election of that day was free and fair. For example, by then I was a reporter.
Yeah.
I was a reporter.
Yeah.
On that day of June 12, a day before then, I had traveled to Kaduna. You know, from Lagos, I went to Kaduna to cover the election. And I saw Nigerians come out enthusiastically, people queued up quietly, you know, without any trouble. Police were doing their duties. There was even need for police because people were very peaceful. And this election held, and we all had high hopes.
Absolutely.
And before you know it, by the end of the day, results were now started trickling in. So we are all happy that Nigerians, for the first time, gotten it right. Only for us to go back to our base, waiting for the results, and here it had been annulled. It was devastating. So how do we deepen the lesson of June 12 so that next time people will not tamper the people's votes. People's votes should count. Sure. I want us to talk about how to deepen the lesson of June 12.
Yeah, deepening it is, you know, as we've mentioned, is that deepening it is, number one, recognizing that the name MKO Abiola has been immortalized, and whichever way people that were close associates with him should still come out, write about their account, their various accounts, and the thing is that it should tell people also who want to go into political elected offices that they must be grassroots people. They must be people who have paid their dues. So if anybody is hoping to become a Nigerian president 20 years from now, right, don't wait for any godfather. Those who have money now, or you have influence, start to do something. Abiola was a widely, remember, he was the pillar of sport in Africa. He had the Concord Press, he had Concord Bookshop, you know, and then, you know, he was a philanthropist of note. So this was a man who was widely accepted across the length. So as I mentioned, it didn't matter who was behind him. Muslim ticket. People say Abiola, and you know, he fed people. He wasn't coming there, you know, to get money. He was giving. So people had recognized him, you know, that this was not somebody, as you mentioned, you know, okay, if his vice, Ambassador Kingigbe, said, I had to take a job to survive, to feed my family, Abiola didn't need that. So he was in need, not for what he was going to get. You know, it's just like what J.F. Kennedy said, I do not think of what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. So anybody hoping to be a governor in 2023, don't wait for a political godfather. Go and start doing things. Those are one way. Abiola was a selfless man. He was somebody who gave to people. And, you know, he wasn't just, he was a businessman, an astute businessman. I remember in those days in my secondary school, one of his children was in my secondary school. You know, he had money, and not only that, he was a people's man. Yeah. As you know, he could crack jokes. He was funny. He was a stammerer, right? But he was somebody who had a sense. Remember, he was chairman of ITT. So he had made it in business. You know, Concord Press. There are many people working today who said, I started my journalism career at Concord Press. Many lives he had touched across, not just across the length and breadth of Nigeria, but across Africa. So people wanting to go into politics, you know, see yourself, go to the grassroots. You don't need to have the millions. You know, it might be just 10,000 things, 10,000 naira worth of things you can do for the grassroots. You know, and then so those are the sort of things that Abiola showed that people can come from business. You don't have to have been some political, you know, or just a career politician. So those are the sort of things, sort of people we need.
Now, lastly, we are almost out of time.
Okay.
Do you think Nigeria can have another MKO Abiola with his wide acceptability?
It's going to be difficult, except that person starts now, because if you look at which philanthropists do we have today? Maybe Dangote, Aliko Dangote. I don't know whether he wants to go into politics, but he has, you know, put some things in place, you know, philanthropy and all those stuff. So, but we can have two of him, okay. But others can take steps similar to him, to what he did, and then, you know, the space we open up for them.
Okay, thank you. Viewers, we have come to the end of this program. Can you say a final word to them? Can you say goodbye? All
right, what I would say is that June 12 was a great opportunity for Nigerians to express their views, and it's a great opportunity to have been able to take you back in time and to bring the relevance of it to our present political dispensation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tunde, for coming to the program.
A pleasure.
Thank you, viewers, for being there with us. We also urge you to tune in next week for another edition of our program, Newspunch. Thank you and good night.
The totality of what makes man is what we're going to hear on Newspunch. We give you the information that you need, from business to economy, to politics, to technology. And that's all we do here on Newspunch, from the beginning to the end. And that is why